Good evening, and welcome to another edition of African Americans Ain't Africans, the thing show that proves without a shadow of a doubt that the so called African American or Black people didn't find their way to America in the trunk of a ship. I'm your host, the Indigenous one. You give them everything, yet they give you nothing. And so, what I mean by that, or my take on that, and I would love to hear your take on it too. So that's why we're putting a link We're putting a link so you can call in. We like to hear your thoughts about the subject tonight. So you give them everything and they give you nothing. And so this is what I mean by that. And we'll take today's events as an example. So you're putting all your weight behind these people, your hopes, your aspirations, your dreams, your wishes, your hope, all that you're putting in it to make some people make it happen for you. It ain't going to happen. Many of you have been voting for 60, 70, 80 years, and you will attest that the political landscape haven't changed much. Yeah, the social order has changed, but remember, it was the people that made that happen. The people. That's why everybody rushes over here to take your stuff because you make it happen for other people, yet you get nothing. Then when these people come over, how they're invited over by the people who you put in office, who you put all your hopes and dreams behind, when they author these people over, these people are beholden to them, to the people who bought them over. They'll do whatever. So if a woman comes from Jamaica and she's going to babysit their kids or clean their houses, she's beholden to the people, her sponsors. You give your sponsorship to other people. This is the people I'm calling African American, Black, you know what I mean. The indigenous people, the people that come with the land. So we're going to hit on that tonight. And like I said, we put the link to the chat in the chat box. So please, we'd like to hear your views because you have some ideas too. You look at things different too. And if you share those with us, it lifts all of us up. And that's what I say, and why I say you have to study your people, find out who your people were, find out what they did, find out what the land was like, find out how they taught themselves, find out the animals that were around. You have to know that stuff because all that start stuff is a part of your life. And most of us, not all, most of us are scared of anything in the natural world. Water, wind, we're scared of it. I don't want to go out there. So, why do we give our power away? And I'm not saying this is everybody, this is most. A lot of people don't give it away. They'd rather die, and they do. But why is it that we just seem to not care about nothing and have the audacity to pass that shit down to your kids and talk like you're doing something and you're not? So the cat I was talking to that was 80 years old, he said his first vote, he voted for John Kennedy. Many of you know how long ago that was. So I asked him, Has much changed in the political sphere since that time? No, not much. He said, but socially it has. And he said something that was very important that I wish many of us would pay attention to because it would this is simple stuff because we seem to overlook the simple stuff. He said it's changed big time in the social arena, but the people made that happen. It wasn't the politicians. It wasn't the people you vote for to get lifelong paychecks. What happens when they leave the government office? They get like a stipend or retirement from the government, get the best health care, get all kind of perks. That should be going to you, should be going to the land that these people who you vote for and who come over take from you. I mean, they don't take it, you give it away. So we're going to talk about that tonight. Look at some of the things that have happened as long as we've been doing this. We're going to bring the Accomack Princess over, get her thoughts on it. And I think it's important looking at it from her point of view because she's a person, like many of you, she's a person who realizes she can't go over to India and do what Kamala's doing here. The Indians over there wouldn't go for it. Guess what the people do here? They with it. Also, we're going to have the chiefess with us. And this sister's with us because she's a little younger than I. And she sees things from a different, you don't see things like your mother see them. You look at them from where you're at and what you're growing through. And so her thoughts, how she sees it, always important because she might see things that I don't see because I don't do the things that I used to do. And she does the things that I used to do sometimes. You know what I mean? Not the exact thing, but she's going through life. I've been her age before. She hasn't been mine. So she can give us another aspect on some of the things that are going on, some of the things that we see. Without any further ado, I want to bring in the Accomack goddess. I don't know if I should call her goddess. We got to find a better way. Got to find another way for our women. That goddess, God stuff is played out. It's dead. It don't work. So another name that just flows off the tongue, Miss Lisa Cypress. How you doing? See, so she probably went outside to feed the cat or something.
How you got me? I'm here. I didn't open my mic. Yeah, you can call me mother. That'll work.
Mama, mama.
No, that's not attractive.
Hey, what's your cat
Oh,
name
okay, I
again?
take that back. I take it back. I take it back. Okay, that's
What's your cat name again?
Nova.
Nova.
Hmm.
I'm starting to like cats.
Cats are smart. They don't take the shit. They ain't about it.
Cats or dogs?
Dogs have their place, but dogs are obedient and pretty kind of like whatever, not as smart. But cats are like, they got their own minds. They do what the fuck. They're like, what the fuck? You serve me, bitch. You
Right,
serve my purpose, okay? Like, you don't serve my purpose, then what are you here for? Like, they're like that.
right.
Dogs are like, ugh, but everyone has their place, their purpose and their place. So it's all good.
Everyone, everything has
Yeah.
its purpose. So this topic we're on tonight, you give them everything, yet they give you nothing. What does that mean to you?
To me, it means like We always are in a situation where we're being compromised or we're compromising our fellow brothers, our brothers and sisters, right? For nothing, right? So today I was talking about the fact that, I was talking about Hampton State University, right? Just one of many HBCUs who were given government incentives to welcome and provide to the daggone Ukrainians and Africans, right? For this fake war. So, and I said to Naomi today, I was like, "So was that a good money deal?" And she was like, "No." And I was like, they need to really like evaluate that all money ain't good money. So this is what happens. Hampton State University and all of them, get money for welcoming these Ukrainians, giving them free room, board, and tuition, right? Africans as well, the ones that were, kicked out of Ukraine. So think about what happens with this. These people get free room, board, tuition, and they weren't getting that where they were from. But in our country, the indigenous people's country, they're granted it with our money that they take from the indigenous people and give it to the daggone immigrants, right? The universities are like, oh, we're getting this grant money. It's all good. Yeah, of course we love Ukraine. Well, fuck you. That is actually the money that was slated to go to the indigenous people. But you're giving it once again to the illegal predatory invaders instead of us. Meanwhile, there's a girl or a boy right around the corner from the university who is working to try to do the best they can to keep their shit together and get some damn decent grades, but will never have what they need to get to go to Hampton. If they got to go to Hampton, free room, board, and tuition, it would change their families for generations. Instead, you're giving free room, board, and tuition to these immigrants. They come into America and you are setting them up and their people up for generations. For generations. And we don't see the damage. We don't see that all money ain't good money. That getting that little kickback from the government for taking this Ukrainians into our university ain't worth it. Because we're devastating the people that are in our community and we're reinforcing these immigrants and assuring them success on our land. You give them everything, and yet they give you nothing.
I get beat up a lot because it I'm with you 100%. What goes into the thinking of Black people or African American people who are with that, what you just said? What goes into that thinking? How was that thought pattern developed? Because they don't seem to mind. Could it be the fact that many of these people that go to HBCUs, and let's just get this out right now, those are colleges built by Rockefellers and all of them. All of them. Check it out. That HBCU stuff is just a cover. It's not yours. Could it be that those people that go to the HBCUs, the indigenous people, because like Indians people told their people, when you go to these schools, you're not much good for Indian people. You're not much good for your people. And that's what it seems like. But could it be that these people that go to these HBCUs, most of the so-called blacks and Africans, could it be that themselves that they identify as immigrants? Most of them don't they identify as Hebrews, Greeks, Muslims, all of this? Don't us a certain amount of those people do that? Do you think that have something to do with it?
These Indian removal schools slash HBCUs were started to create an elitist separation, to separate the European blacks or whatever they are from the indigenous Afro Indians that, were always here. And yeah, um, they have an agenda to indoctrinate us, to keep us in subject and underneath their control. So I mean, they have an agenda. These universities are definitely designed for the elite and to create an elite status and to create an elite class and to divide people. Are these people already divided? Are they not us? Yeah, I would say, yeah, the majority of them aren't us, right? They aren't us. They are predators that are more connected to their white tea European cousins than they are to us.
Is there a way for us to see that? Is there a way for us to see that? Like the way they move, the way they go through crowds, the way they get through things, because it's pretty obvious to me.
I think that just like everything else that you want to know about or be more astute about, you have to want it, right? You have to want to be aware. You have to want to be informed. And that means that you have to like not just drink in the Kool-Aid of whatever is the mainstream communication, whether it's your phone app, news, or whether it's something on the television. You have to look to see, okay, they're saying this, and then you have to look and see, okay, what is this actually true? What else is being said about this situation? What else is being said about this thing? See, it doesn't matter whether it's a concerning politics or any other kind of weather or news or even indigenous stuff. Don't just believe it because the first person tells you it's true. Say, okay, where's your damn sources? And if not, let me Google this shit out and figure out if I can find any sources. Let me research what I can find to contradict what you're saying or to verify what you're saying. See, that's the way we have to do. We have to verify it and contradict it. Verify it, contradict. You have to look for what contradicts what we're being told, and we have to look for what verifies what we're being told. That's how we have to move forward. You can't just accept shit. You got to look for what verifies it, and then you got to research what contradicts it. And then the one that has the most powerful information and records to support what they are saying, that's what you go with. Capiche? Understand? Get it?
Got it. What about thinking? There's a cat in the chat says we don't do no thinking. So Here's a perfect example today. It's voting day today. Everybody's out there doing their thing. And I've never voted ever. I got hip to the game a long time ago. And so that's what I mean about thinking. Do we ever just sit down and just look at this stuff and figure out things ourselves? Or do we just go along with the crowd to make the crowd happy? Like a football game. When people get to a football game, they wear the same jerseys and, you know, do they go with it like that? Because I don't think people are looking like you were talking earlier about the immigrants coming over and us, setting their families up for life instead of setting our own families up for life. How do we look at it? How do we think about it? And I think that's what the HBCUs, not just them, I think that's the final nail in the coffin because I think it starts way in elementary school where you don't even have the ability to think for yourself. So I'm like wondering how are people seeing this? This whole thing. Because one of the things I always hear, and it kind of puzzles me, oh, these people doing this to us. These people, and so like when people talk about that slavery thing, I'm like, how was there slavery going on when you had men fighting in their wars? How was that happening? And nobody can seem to explain it. Why would people go fight in a war and their mothers and fathers are at home slaves? I don't get that. Nobody's had been able to explain it. So I'm like, what goes into the thinking? Is there any thinking? Like the guy said, is there any thinking? Do we even think about stuff like that? Or do we just go along with it just to go along to get along? How does that work, from your point of view? And Chiefess, I like to get your views on this.
Say that last part again.
I say, how is it that we're not even thinking about what's going on. So here's a question for you. If you went over to Bangladesh right now and ran for office in Bangladesh, do you think you would get the support Kamala Harris is getting over here?
Of course not.
Okay. So you know that. You
Hmm.
didn't have to think about it. You know that. How
Hmm.
come it's so easy for them to come over and get the support of the people here?
Well, because most people are, they're complacent. They don't want to think critically. And they were told lies about what America is. So if everybody's, oh yeah, America's a melting pot. America was invaded by people that should have went home 400 years ago. They don't tell you certain stuff. I mean, I even
But
told,
isn't it up to you? But isn't it up to you to educate yourself, to find
yeah.
out yourself?
Ironically, everybody has smartphones and is motherfucking stupid. Yeah.
Ah, and so that that's when so when we say we give them everything, is this the impetus for us to give everything away? Because we don't know. I'm talking about, this has been going on a long time, y'all, over 100 years at least. You know, people were. I'm sure people were way more ahead of the game 100 years ago than they are now.
Mm.
But it's like now people I can do what I want to do. You don't tell me what to do. You ain't my daddy. That's what I'm hearing. That's what I'm seeing. And nobody seems to care. You go through the airport, especially the one in Atlanta, and you see how they treat the people in the airport there. These immigrants coming over here. What's that?
Yeah, I emailed you. Just look at the one that says YN epidemic and
Yeah. Well,
culture vulture.
there was a tornado in Oklahoma. I don't know if they're really talking about it. I'm not really sure, but it looks pretty messed up. And it didn't hit indigenous people in a big way because it's like 4% of the population is indigenous. The rest is like Mexican and European. But I want to check it out real quick. Let me go ahead and give it to you. hmm hmm
So do you know somebody that lives in that area? I guess not. So it seems like a natural disaster is happening every month, huh? I'm sorry, I can't hear you. Then you just have a hurricane last month?
Yeah, there's actually another one in the Caribbean. I just was looking at that earlier today.
So what's happening in the Caribbean?
I think the hurricane is called Raphael or some shit. I having some weird ass name. I got some notifications about it.
Yeah, so being that America stretches from Alaska down to Argentina, Peru down there, you think it wouldn't be that hard for the people, the indigenous people of these lands to hook up all through the Americas. But some reason they don't. Is it because they're ruled by different countries? I mean, they're all one country when it all boils down to it. But you would think the people that live in the Caribbean that's coming up here, they would it would be a bond built by now.
I think a lot of people are compromised. I think that the problem is that everybody's in all these different levels of compromise that keeps and divisions that keep us from going together, whether it's fraternities, sororities, whether it's daggone you know religious, whether it's socioeconomic, whether it's what country you're from and what kind of benefits you are tend to lose because you're an immigrant status. Immigrant status puts you in a different kind of clique than us, right? So we're all divided out in so many ways. I think that is the Pan African, or you're right, sir, Pan African or indigenous or a Hebrew Israelite or more, or the Muslim versus whatever else, Christian. We are divided in so many ways. That's what makes it so freaking hard for us to get together. It's just crazy. You know, uh, we need to get that together. Hawaiians, okay, and then also the Native Americans are compromised in ways that I wasn't realized, because you know people talk about, yeah, join, the Nate, get enrolled. Well, you get enrolled in these recognized nations, and they are in a compromise. They're in a 360 deal with the United States. Basically, when you seek recognition, you basically say, I hand the shit over to you to manage my, not just my nation, but my land, my money. You're really giving over your authority over you when you beg for recognition from your oppressor. And people don't even seem to realize that the BIA is the same BIA, is the same bureau that actually created the Trail of Tears, created the Indian Removal Act. They were all behind the taking of your land and giving it to immigrants. The BIA collected up your freaking stolen land, and now they won't give it back to you. I mean, you're begging the BIA to recognize you. People are working for 30, 50 years to get recognition from the entity that stole your land in the first place. Make that make sense.
It makes no sense. And when you make what you just said, when you explain that, they'll cuss you out. So do you think they cuss you out because they know you're telling the truth and they're just going along with it just to say, I'm recognized? Do you think that's it? Because asking a thief to recognize you, like you said, it makes no sense at all.
I think that the people that are in that position of being Indian and having a choice of being Indian are the people that aren't really Indian. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's why they are willing to compromise, because they know, shit, if they even look at, they look underneath the first layer, they're gonna find out I really ain't that. You know what I mean? So I
Right.
just shut my mouth and take what I'm given. So I think the willingness to
That
compromise is
makes
the fact that they know that they are not actually thoroughly and completely who they claim to be. And that's why they're willing to compromise. Because if you were like most of us who are like, damn, everything I am is from this country. Everything I am, I'm either Choctaw, or I'm dead going Cherokee, or I'm dead going all three, or I'm all this, or I'm this or that. But everybody's that. Everybody's an Indian. What they don't have that. So for them, yeah, hush your mouth. They're gonna keep their silence. Silence is golden, because they really, they start complaining too much. They know who they are. That's why they gave them what they gave them, because they don't have a right to say anything. They don't have any true valid right to say anything. That's why the United States granted them the status that they have. That's why they refuse to honor and actually tell the truth about the people who have real status.
That makes sense, y'all. Makes sense to me. It makes a lot of sense to me. But the people who are here, the people who are, and they never say nothing about nothing. What's their dilemma? How
Well, I
come they're
mean,
not speaking up, like you say, for their children, their
well,
grandchildren?
they're just figuring things out, and I think they don't. I think a lot of them don't know how to move. Right? They don't know how to move. They don't know what to do. I think a lot of them don't do because they don't know. And they really are not, they're very unclear about how to move. Maybe they happen to be, three different nations, in their genealogy, and they're not really sure how to actually make that work. And so they don't do anything. Some people, they know, and they're not the people that they think that their genealogy is, don't recognize them, and they don't want to go through the work of actually repatriating their people. It is work. They don't want to do it. They may not feel it's worth it because their own family are just like lackadaisical, which most families are. But you don't do it because of your family. You do it for all those people that you don't know, who are of your nation, who need a place to land. It's not is not it shouldn't be just about the family that you know. It should be about the people that you don't know, and the people that are looking for their nation. So,
But how many people even care about that? I mean, seriously, if you go out on a Saturday morning in Atlanta, and of the 100 people you run into, how many people really care about that? Really care about, shoot, they might have relatives that live in California or Arizona or Vegas somewhere. How many people really care about that?
well, most people don't. They truly don't. I mean, I think that people. I also think that people don't, primarily because they don't understand. You know, uh, they don't really understand the repercussions of what does it really mean to you? What does it really mean to you if you really are that Indian? What does it mean to you if you actually do track your genealogy down and figure out where your homeland is? What does it mean to you if you really do find these land patterns, or just find your presence here on this planet? Like when I did the genealogy for whatever, that place in Tennessee and that other place in, I think it was Mississippi, when they were going through the whole thing where the white tees were trying to take their land away, or trying to take their town away from them, or remove themselves. If they had recognized themselves as the Indians that they actually were, they not only could have kept their town, but they could have had the resources that were due them as the Indians, that given to them. In addition, they could have made it so nobody could come after them again, because they were claiming their status as the indigenous, first contact people of that daggone town. And then they would really have the daggone supreme daggone title to the town, and the running of it. But see, people don't. People, even when you tell people, even when you give people the daggone instructions line by line, they don't want to do that, because it's not something that the white tea taught them,
Or everybody else is doing?
and it's nothing, and it's something that no one else is doing, so they're not going to try it. They're not going to do it. You're right. Nobody else is doing it. And the white tea didn't teach it to them. So obviously they're not going to be the ones that's going to step out and be original.
Which brings me to Copper Colored Lifestyles quote. And she says it's easier to act dumb, and it looks much worse to be conned in your own land. Deep down, a lot of people know. And when you say act dumb, I don't think it's an act. It's not.
Mm,
Because if somebody came and snatched a bag of potato chips from you, you'd cut them.
mm,
But
mm,
they're taking everything that was passed down to you from your ancestors,
mm.
and you're playing and acting dumb like you don't know what's happening. And I think, like the sister said earlier, a lot of people know. They just don't care.
Mhm. I
You
think
know,
I think that being African American, they can pretend that it's not theirs, and then they don't feel guilty when it gets ripped away from them.
ooh, now that's a point there. So that's what you mean, acting dumb?
Mm, that's what
Okay,
Color Lifestyle was saying.
I stand
Yes,
corrected. Okay,
that
but
makes
is that acting dumb? I think that's just straight lying. You know, I mean, who does that? Like I said, if the shoe was on the other foot and you were somewhere else, I don't care where you were. You would have some way about the way they do things because it's not the way you do it here. Just like they do things here that's not done here. They do things like they were in their home country and they do it over here on you, and you don't say nothing. You just open your hands and give it to them, push it towards them, because that's what I see the African American and Black doing, and will get pissed at me for speaking like I speak. So you give them everything, and they give you nothing. If they give you nothing, what are they going to give your children or your grandchildren? Because everything that's left to you, you got to go to them to get it. So if your mother or your father left you a house, you got to go to a foreigner to get it. And we don't even look at making that right for ourselves. I'm not talking one or two people. I'm talking about millions of people. I mean, we watch the football game, we watch the basketball game, we listen to the same radio station in the morning. I mean, there's nothing in common that we have in common as humans that would bond us together. I mean, nothing. And like you said earlier, Lisa, we're in all these different sects, all these different groups trying to make ourselves unaccountable. Well, that's what it seems like to me. Or is that how it is? So you give them everything and they give you nothing.
You know it's the anniversary of 1924 and it's about to be over. You know 1924 is the Racial Identity Act, right? Walter Plecker. That was the final sledgehammer on our identity, right? It also was around the same time that they tried to exterminate us with the Spanish flu, but it backfired and killed off their young people, their young white tea European people en masse. Do you understand that they have been planning for 100 years to reset and do that again? And what happened with that major epidemic, that pandemic that failed, was that they studied us, they thought they knew our genetics. They inoculated us with this disease via vaccines that we were so accustomed to. They set it all up in advance. because I saw it as a healthcare worker. I was like, why are they dropping the standards for nursing in 2006? Why are they dropping the standards for doctors and all this? Why? Why is the grades requirements lowered? Why are we remediating these people so that they can't fail? They just go to school over and over. They stay in school over and over again. Why is that happening? Why are we making healthcare dumber on purpose? Why are we pushing the experienced, excellent nurses that I came up with out of the profession, forcing white, black, whatever you want to call indigenous people out of the profession before their time? Why? Why did Johnson and Johnson invest in the daggone technology and put it in hospitals so that they can look at a pimple on your nose from a little box on a wall, and then a nurse in another location is watching, like, I don't know how many, 50, 100 people, and she can see what's going on in that ICU room and help the dumb nurse that doesn't know what they're doing on the other side? Why did we have that technology? Our nurses were excellent. They didn't need anybody. I trust everybody I work with my life. They were fabulous. Why did we need them dummies in a box? They were dumb as fuck. Because it wasn't for us. It was pre-planned and preparing for what they were bringing down the pipe. Pandemic, they had to get rid of all the experienced people and fill the daggone hospitals with dumbass motherfuckers. So when they did what they did, nobody would be like, oh, what are we doing? No, let's do this, let's do that, let's do this, let's do that. There was nobody with that voice of reason. They were all pushed out. And you know, when people get out of that, when they go to retirement, they be like, I don't know if you know, but most of the people I know that retire, they be like, I don't want to talk about what I used to do. Don't ask me about like my cousin that did IT. She's like, I don't want to look at a computer. I don't even check email. My other friend that does it, he doesn't want to see nothing. He doesn't help anybody with their computer. See, people get like, when they retire, they're like, I don't want to talk about that shit no more. They don't think about it. They don't talk about the stuff. So they notice. So these highly professional people who were pushed out of profession, they no longer even wanted to think. They stopped thinking and talking about the shit. So they were able to usher in whatever they wanted to do, unchecked and unbothered. In 1924, in the 1920s, they also ushered in radioactive waves along with a pandemic of the Spanish flu. Everything has been repeated unsuccessfully. And here we are at the end of Walter Plecker, Marcus Garvey, and their daggone gang of daggone thieves who took our identity and changed our identity and the records and all that shit and tried to convince people they were African. We're at that same place in time 100 years later, and we're almost at the end of this year. And all their things that they had set up, over 100 years they've been working on these things they've set up. They did not work. So now what I say is that we need to be especially alert, aware, astute, prepared for what else is going to come behind the failure of everything that has been used prior to and during this anniversary of 1924.
When you say Marcus Garvey, I think that should just be changed to Garvey Plecker, because they work hand in hand. Edwin, we're coming to you soon, but now we have Ish. joining the conversation. Ish, what's your comment? And welcome to the program.
Hey, what's going on? You got,
Hey,
can you guys, can you hear me all right?
yes, sir.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys having me. I just wanted to, drop in and see what you guys were talking about, and uh, I don't know if you guys are talking about anything different now, but what I heard originally was, um, well, why doesn't anybody necessarily care? And I just wanted to kind of give you my, my 2 cents from a younger generation. I've been in like the corporate America now for about like 5 years, and I went to the public schools, and I went to college, graduated, got a degree, and went straight to corporate America. But I've always like I've always, not always, but more so through my college years, early in my college years and going on graduating, I've always had the understanding that us as a people, people copper colored here in America, we have been usurped, and uh, rather than like staying stagnant about it, I've I've delved into a lot of different concepts and systems that are set up, here on the land that we are kind of succumbed to. And so, what I think what it is, as far as like, just through my life experiences, especially for people of my age, younger generation, I'm 28, so people around that, around that age is, I think the main thing is resources and financing. I think, we eventually we all come to the conclusion that we need, if we want to have any type of skin in the game, in the game of life, or just on this world, is we gotta have we gotta be financially present. And I think our lack of understanding, or some of our ignorance, just what exactly um, these systems are, uh, leave us at a disadvantage. And I believe that even the rest of the different groups that that are on these lands right now, I think they don't have that. They don't even know what the system is, but they know that they're going to benefit from it before we do, before we ever do, if we're ever going to benefit from it. And so I this this kind of led me into a lot of different rabbit holes, if you per se. But um I think, man, I think people do know, people are aware, like I'm aware myself, as far as doing genealogy. But it's when you realize, by the time you realize it, you've already went through their machines, the public school system. You've already went through the colleges, and now you in corporate America. And now here we are, uh, post COVID, after they done reset everything, and now you see that you kind of understand what you really need to do. It's just a matter of how can you do it, how can you get that done. And so like uh with that said, I understand that, like, how can I get certain things done is through having a being financially literate. And I don't mean by like the generic financial literate. People say you need to save and budget and do this and do that, all the regular things you hear people like Dave Ramsey preach. Like, if you saved more than you spent, you would be rich. And uh, that's just obviously right now not even economically possible. As far as the cost of living, and then the means of and the wages that people are getting, especially working class people like myself, young people who ain't even been 10 years in the workforce. So um, for me, like, yeah, I've already realized it's definitely a grand stage. Um, and how can I what information about the system can I utilize to put me in a situation uh, that can financially empower myself, my family, that can give us a situation where I'm not dependent on a, corporate America. You know what I'm
Have you
saying?
ever have you have cousins and things like that, right?
Yeah, I got yep, yep.
Okay, so check, I was just talking to a brother about this later earlier this week. And so he was saying, yeah, man, I got about 40, 50 cousins.
Mhm,
He was asking the same question you're asking. And this is was my this is what I said to him. I said, what if all your cousins, you and all your cousins, you guys slept on your grandma's floor, y'all
mhm,
all made pallets and slept together. What if all those people, what they're paying in rent, all of those people, what are they paying in rent a month? I know you don't know, but
mhm.
what do you think that they're paying in rent to
I mean,
different? No, no, no.
th- yeah. Go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
Let me finish.
Yeah.
What do you think all those people are paying in rent? And
Mhm,
he said, damn, at least $100,000.
mhm,
I said, how? So wouldn't the question be, how would you make that work for you guys? You guys are in the same. You you guys are the same. You same people. You come from the same thing, but you spread out to give your money to immigrants. How do
mhm,
you stop that?
mhm,
And
mhm,
we don't even want to think about it. We don't even, huh? I don't want to think about that to come up
mhm,
with a solution because it's easy to do.
mhm,
And the people that do think about it, they don't want to do it because they ain't seen you in 20, 30 years. So there's ways to make things do. And this is what I mean about how we never think about nothing. There's ways to make everything work. It's not the way that this coming from the other side,
mhm,
what you say.
mhm,
And unfortunately, we don't never say nothing.
mhm,
So that there's ways, man. But that's why when we say, we got all these different religious groups, everybody want to be a different nationality, everybody,
mhm.
you can never get no consistency, no
Right,
continuity with each other because everybody's being something that they're not.
right.
And that's how I see it. I don't know no other way.
Yeah. I mean,
You
and I can agree. I can agree with that. What I see is though, like for instance, on my family, like on my mother and my father's side, they both uh come from they both come from ownership, landowners. They both came from land. They both we all are descendants from landowners. We've already that's something we've already established and proven. And of course, these lands are in the South. They not in the city where where we all are now. Um, and and so yeah, man, it's a matter of just hey, how can I start this conversation that well, hold on, on my mother's side, my mother's father's side, he comes from a lineage of landowners in Alabama and we was just out there in 2001. Like we ain't been back since, but you know, people don't necessarily know, where to start. Hey, we're entitled to this land as well. It's the same thing you see on both sides as far as somehow, some way, um, some of the same descendants or some descendants who are descendants of the families who shared those lands with you know our immediate descendants. uh they're claiming that they have ownership, they've been there, but somehow some way we've ended up here in this city, but we found through the genealogy, through through, of course, just my mom's father is still alive, so of course he's got plenty of memories of being tied to that land, and so it's like, well, how come we can't, why are we paying rent? Is essentially, you know what I'm saying? Like,
You're
so.
you're addicted to the concrete, brother.
Hmm.
We so when a lot of people left, so just imagine all the people who went up to Chicago from Mississippi.
Hmm.
Imagine the drain, and then you're not connected to the land anymore. You got the
Hmm.
concrete between you and the land.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
You're not gonna learn nothing.
Right.
You're just gonna buy some Jordans to make your steps softer.
Right. Right. Right.
That's
Well,
all.
and and
We
and, and,
ran.
that's been the status quo, but at the same time, we hear, all of us here right now in this moment, we obviously like-minded individuals uh, come together. Um, and so I've heard the sister who was speaking prior, she's conducted her own affairs as far as making claims and, ownership to things that she feels that she's or to things that she knows she's entitled to. She deserves her right to. She has a right to. And so where can somebody like me, man, like as far as property, as far as trying to make claims to property, if you can't get the whole family to come together, if you talking to one family, one cousin here, there, and you just talking, but I'm really inclined to really be proactive. I'm really inclined to actually, um, move the ball. You know what I'm saying? To actually get, so if I know I'm a descendant of a landowner, of a somebody of a landowner, whether it be in Arkansas or Alabama, man, how can I approach that situation? What's a good method? And what resources do I need to be studying? Um what do I, is this something that I will take to the state, a federal state court, or, I just, a lot of these answers, and you can't really even find them in a school book or a textbook. Like, I would rather ask the right questions, right then and there, and and then and move on that, rather than I'm not saying I don't want to go read. I rather just ask the right questions that could point me into the direction to read the right things that could probably give me a quicker or a stronger foundation and to a better result, a stronger result is all.
All right, brother. Well, I'm gonna turn that because she deals with the courts a lot. I'm gonna turn that over to mother and let her answer because she's gonna give you a way much better answer than I. But it's like the brother said, you're gonna have to start off by yourself, brother, because really we're really too separated. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
the people that you're going to get your land from, they know who you are. They know.
Well, they family, or it's particular circumstances through like the stories that I've heard, from my distant relatives, and the same stories have been passed down. I'm just trying to piece it together, but then I'm also, I'm for living, I'm for starting my own development, uh, and you know, uh, maintain distinguishing ourselves, and I'm not for the welfare. I'm not looking for any handouts. I'm more so looking for, um you know of course, to have, just to protect my rights and be able to enforce my rights.
Lisa, you want to hit that?
Well, yeah, sure. So, from my standpoint, I'm not really a proponent of individuals claiming land, like, or land patents, because
Hmm.
for every one person, there's thousands or maybe even tens of thousands that actually have that same lineage, right? So I really it kind of really ethically bothers me that if one person claims it, like, what's up with that? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So for me, when I found out, about our lineage and everything and land
Mm-hmm.
pat, first I found out about our lineage and who we were, and just who we were historically, and then I discovered the land patents. But the land patents, there are some that are just like people that are in my lineage and other people's lineage, because some people are of the same last name and same, fifth grade grandfather as I have. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, from my standpoint, my first thing when I found out who we were was to repatriate the people. And I feel like that's the most powerful thing anybody can ever do. I don't give a damn what anybody tries to tell you.
Mm-hmm.
The most powerful thing and most powerful person you can be in, the most powerful status you can have, and the most you want to do in this country is going to come if you actually repatriate your people. That's how you can protect yourself, because then if you claim the land, you claim it under your nation, your cousins that you don't know, they say, hey, I'm a Jones. What the heck? That's my fifth great grandfather. That's my seventh great grandfather too.
Right.
They can't come for you. They can come for you, but you already have said this is for the nation. So if they want to come for you, it's part of the nation. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Enroll,
Yeah.
just enroll. You know what I mean? So it protects you, and it also shares in a way that we're supposed to be sharing as a people. So these people, I ain't gonna lie to you, people are out there. They are quit claiming and claiming their land patents that are their ancestors. It's just me personally, I don't personally agree with it. I think, people have obtained their land patented land and actually sold their land patent land, because everybody ain't like Virginia, Georgia, from what I'm hearing, Louisiana, other states, they actually, they ain't trying to friggin' be gatekeepers and hoes about shit. They're not trying to, uh, uh, you know, do malicious things like, criminally prosecute a person for claiming their land. They aren't doing that. So actually, there are people that are actually just claiming their land, and quiet as has been kept, they're getting the land. They're selling they're not little, like 5,000 acres and stuff like that. So there are people that are doing that. Like I said, do I agree personally with that? No, I do not. See, because the thing about it, what has been gained? You dumb nigga. You done gained, you done got this land that you didn't know existed. You quit claimed it, you daggone litigated on it, you got it, you sold the shit.
Right.
Not
Yeah. That
reforming
and
from
that
it. And
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 yeah.
and all this time your family has been holding on to it. It's been hidden, it's been kept secret, denied you, and all you do as soon as you get it, you sell it to the daggone
Right.
first
Not
chance.
knowing, yeah, not already like not understanding that the land, that's the wealth right there. Like you was just wealthy and you just gave it all away for some paper, some Federal Reserve notes that ain't got no value to them whatsoever.
And it
That can
goes
be
back
spent.
to us giving them everything, the whole thing. We're giving them everything, and you get nothing. And the other thing is, somebody could still come back for these people and be like, "Yo, I heard you sold that shit," and they could be sued for that what they got because they're not the only entitled heir. So my whole thing, like, that's what I say. So even if it means a lot of people aren't in my situation, or where they just have the one lineage, but I mean, so what I recommend to people is like, be what you are. What the fuck, if you're Cherokee and Choctaw, but that's not a real lineage. So what you got to do is get down to the actual counties that your ancestors come from, because there's going to be names that are like Carrie says, that are coincide with the lakes and the daggone streams, in the trees. Find out those names. Are you a a Lettahatchee? Are you a Chira? Are you a Catawba? what are you? What are those? What are the actual names of the people that predated the daggone towns, cities, and counties? That those names, and if you want to take your people that are from Arkansas, combine it with your people that are from Georgia, and say I'm a Takara, Kichwa, whatever you are. You know what I mean? If you wanted to repatriate those two parts of what you are, there's nothing wrong with that. It's real. You are really both those things. There's nothing wrong with you claiming what you really are. What the heck? You know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with it. So if you repatriate your actual lineage and create a nation, recreate your nation, which is a combination of your mom and dad's genealogy, right? And then you establish yourself as the Carrara, Kituas or whatever it happens to be, right? And you sit up there and you say, okay, I'm repatriating them, I'm forming them as a nation or a government or a government entity or whatever, and however you want to organize your entity, right? Because there are certain things that entity can do, but you're repatriating yourself as a people by actually having having a structure, a government structure, which means you're going to have a constitution, you're going to have a bylaws, you're going to have affidavit in which everybody uses.
Exactly.
But,
I know it's some paperwork behind it for sure. Establishing it.
Yeah, but for you to do your affidavit, it's not going to be like the Acamax, because the Acamax affidavit is about our history. It's about what's been done to us. It's about all the shit we've been through and all that. Your affidavit, it means you, part of your journey is finding out, being the expert of the Kawaba, whatever your people are. You got to be the expert. So you become the instant expert. You deep dive into what your history is. You got to be the instant expert, and you got to be more expert than these white tees out there. Because believe me, they know who the hell, they know their Indian history, and they know about your people in these little towns. You'll be surprised. There's always an Indian experts, multiple of them, in these little damn country towns that know everything about the Indians out there, and you don't know, but they know. So that's why you got to deep dive real far and get like all the old texts, all the primary sources, go to the court records. You got to know, be the expert of your people, because you will be challenged by these entities. They'll know if you don't know, and they will challenge your ass if you don't. So you got to be the expert of you. You be the expert of you. You create your daggone your Facebook entity, your whatever TikTok entity of your people, your friggin' website. You do all these things. You have your affidavit. You have your enrollment form. You have you create your ID cards. You're gonna do all these things. You got to build your nation, right? But the other thing is you got to be present in those areas. So that means you got to go out there to Arkansas. Go over back to Georgia. Got to go into these towns and let them know. Go to the daggone libraries and the history centers and the museums and be like, hey, I'm going to introduce myself. I'm the chief of this daggone nation. We still exist. We're still here. Blah, blah, blah. Da, 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 da. This is a flyer. This is a card. Whatever you got, and you'll be like, yeah, I'd be welcome. I would love to come out and talk to y'all sometime or do a presentation or whatever you're interested in. Help you with a display, update your display so it's more appropriate and shit like that. You offer yourself, be a friend of these people. I didn't get to get that far with it because I started litigating so fast that I became a fast enemy. But you know what I'm saying? That would be the one, go to the schools, volunteer to talk to the schools, and all that shit. Do all that stuff that you kind of become you have to resurrect your folks, and you resurrect them by being present and making yourself known into these communities once again. Next thing you know, like they will know, like like the VCU, Virginia whatever Commonwealth University contacted me about talking to their class, doing a whole daggone semester about us. You know what I mean?
Right,
So
right.
and that kind of thing, when VCU and these entities start to that is your recognition. That's recognition. When the towns and the people and the universities know who the hell you are recognized. That other shit, that's just complying and becoming a government friggin' entity or a government slave. You have to manifest your recognition by resurrecting your people and making sure that these people out there are notified that y'all exist and this is a thing, and we're correcting the history, and don't be talking about us unless you include me in the conversation. That kind of thing. You have to like be that person. But yeah, and as far as the land patents, yeah, that comes next. And then so if you have patents or you have land as part of your people's, it's about knowing that history of conveyance and how that freaking thing happened. Like Indian land's not supposed to be sold. So in reality, the dude that actually sold these people that actually are getting like Indian land patents, if that's what they are, then those things can't be sold. So in reality, the actual fact is, even though he sold it, when he dies, it's supposed to go back to his damn people. But that doesn't happen. But that's the way that's supposed to work. So basically, you researching the daggone trick, you have to be the expert, sleuth, and finding out, the title, the transfer and the conveyance of title from the Indian to all these other people to present day. You got to backtrack it, and then you say, okay, this is what happened. But the reality is, it can never be. It never was supposed to be transferred away from the Indian, and all those other transferences after the Indian are void. They're null and void. And so, but the thing is, not people do not. First of all, we don't know who we are, so we haven't been actually identifying ourselves correctly, and that's no fault of our own. That's the fault of the fact that they worked tirelessly before 1924, but especially at 1924, to remove our identities and to make sure we didn't actually identify ourselves as being from this country and having the rights to our identity and our land. So that's not our problem. They're going to send us outside the country. They moved us all over the country. They terrorized us. They burned us out of places. They drowned our towns. They did all kinds of stuff. They flooded us out. So they gave us diseases. They terrorized us. They hung us. All kinds of stuff was done to keep us from claiming our land. So that's no fault of our own. So when you do reclaim your land, and yes, a quit claim, there's nothing wrong with using a quit claim. It's not a crime. The reason they locked me up or they charged me with 51 indictments is because they don't know what else to do. They don't know what to do. So they're trying to scare me. But I told them this is not going to end.
Did you
Like,
like did you ever have like a mentor or like a group that like that
nobody does this, sir. Nobody does this.
yeah.
This is not something that
So
people
so
have
you was
done.
just going in. So you was just going into the like you was just looking at the what's it the civil like the civil procedures and you was just navigating as best as you can.
Well, I mean, basically, you study, and Amani is very well versed in the law, and what we filed was appropriate for getting people off your land. It may have not been the best suit for an Indian situation,
Mm-hmm.
and that could be debated, but it wasn't wrong. The
Right.
reality is, we already own the land. I shouldn't have had to litigate because the patent itself is your title.
Right.
And that's what they didn't anticipate that I would do. That when the corrupt judges dismissed the case, they thought that was going to be the end of it. Goodbye, Miss,
Mm-hmm.
Miss Indian lady. You done, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's dismissed. No, I knew that she was corrupt. That it's the highest title. How the hell is she gonna dismiss that shit? That's not gonna stop me from knowing that is my property. That is not my property. That is Accomack property. So I mean, so what I came to the conclusion was, okay, the title's ours. What am I doing going to court? The title is ours. It's like you have the receipt. Why are you going to court? The court going to court and filing quit claims is like, I'm announcing to you in another way. I sent you a letter of notice. I put it in a newspaper. In addition, I'm filing a quit claim just so you can have official legal notice that I have an interest in the land. That's all a quit claim does, is say you have an interest. It doesn't guarantee your ownership, but our ownership is guaranteed, and so it's not illegal. So the bullshit, all this, what they charge me with is completely fraudulent. It's
that's their main game anyway. That's their main game. Like all these banks is, that's how they get that's how they so-called, get they leverage, is through they interest in a property or in a thing. So like so when we do it, it's just us playing their game back at them, essentially. Like, claiming an interest, right? But
so basically, this is the fact that you don't have to claim sovereignty, because that's all that sovereign citizen bullshit. Being an Indian is all you need to be. If you're actually within your rightful status, you don't got to claim sovereignty. That is implied by you being in your rightful identity, period. Everybody that wants to be a sovereign citizen is trying to pretend, or a national, all that shit. They're pretending to be Indians. That's all they're doing. The most highest thing you can be on the planet is a real first contact Indian, period. Okay? That's the highest form of daggone identity you can have. So anything else is bullshit. I'm not trying to say I'm sovereign. No, that's bullshit. That'll put you in a fucking vice grip and put you in a bad bag. Don't call yourself a national. That's some other bullshit. That's white people shit that's trying to be you. And then the niggas go around copying white folks. That's stupid. No, the most powerful thing you can be is what's in your blood. That's the most powerful thing you can claim and be. So, okay, so I'm in my rightful identity. They know this. Why? Because these people are expert. They're in the history. They know the Indians. You think they didn't check my genealogy about 12,000 times? Oh, hell yeah, they did. They know who I am. I ain't got to worry about that. They never question that, because guess what? They've been checking that. I think I said they checked that 12,000 times before that, before anything. Okay. Because if that was fucking wrong, they would have cut my head off from the beginning. So basically, they know that they're in a dead end with daggone me saying that I'm not who I am. That is not to be questioned. So what they can do is try to scare me into thinking that my rights to the land and the laws are not what I think they are. Well, that's a mistake, because I'm very well, especially the more they fight me, the more time I have to reread all the case law I have. Now, I used a whole lot of case law over the 2 years that I litigated against them. But you know what? I didn't really study the case law. I didn't really dwell on it and marinate on it and really think about it. But now that they're fucking with me, I have a lot of time to think about and dwell on and reread all this. I'm like, this shit is powerful. I use powerful case law, right? To daggone fight to get that daggone land removed from these people. But so what are they trying to do? They're trying to scare me. They're trying to terrorize me. They're trying to wear me out so that I'll just give up. And they're trying to scare any other indigenous people from trying the same thing. It's very simple, right? It's very simple. But like I said, I have the receipt. Doing the quit claim is a courtesy. It is really being very considerate. And the fact of how we did it was the properties that we did claim are all vacant houses. They're all commercial, or like commercial investment property, or people's vacation homes. They're not they're not families living in houses and shit. It's very considerate shit was done, right? So I
Right.
mean, how the hell? Like seriously, this is you couldn't ask for anything better, right? So the
Right.
fact that they are fighting me on this is really, really stupid because it's all, I was really trying to be very considerate and caring,
Mm-hmm.
they they are the thieves. They are in the wrong. The fact that they disobeyed the law and the law that protects the patent, that's why
Mm-hmm.
they're in this position. Had they respected the law that protects the Indian, that protects the patent, it would have
Mm-hmm.
protected them from this loss. That's what I told them in court. I said, if you had obeyed the patent, you wouldn't have this loss now.
Mm-hmm.
It would have protected you. You invested in something that you shouldn't have invested in.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Knowingly,
hmm?
because
No,
knowingly,
but,
right?
but
Because
then they turned around and fought me to try to remove my quit claim. And I'm like,
mm-hmm.
sir, that's unethical. You're trying to pass on this problem to someone else,
Mm-hmm.
knowing that there's an issue with this property and the patent.
Mm-hmm.
That is unethical. I mean, I
Mm-hmm.
know they say let the buyer beware, but how dare you pass this on knowing that there's an issue? It's not going to go away. I am not going to stop. And there's more after me. There's more people to come
Right.
after me. Hungrier, less considerate, younger people come after me. They don't care if people are in their houses, okay?
Mm-hmm. Right.
They should, you know what I mean? They need to understand it could be far worse, but they don't. They're so greedy. They're so
Mm-hmm.
greedy and desperate they can't see how bad it actually could be and how freaking, ratchet it could be. But they don't understand that this is the time. We understand our rights. We
Mm-hmm.
understand the law, that everything is protecting us. You can sit up there and you can lie and you can treat me like I'm a criminal and you can try to lock me up and you throw these charges at me and try to ruin me. But that's not
Mm-hmm.
going to stop this. It is time. It is destined. It's happening. Okay. And now, what have they done? Now they've damaged me, right? So now this
Right.
is malicious prosecution. So I didn't have a personal money coming my way. I didn't have that. Now I do because of what they've done to me. Because now I got malicious prosecution against them. What do you, I didn't have that before. You created that for yourself. Where now I need to sue you because of what you're doing to me. Trying to ruin my life, trying to destroy me. I
Right.
got to sue your asses.
Right. 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 No, I mean, and you should, as you should. And so, yeah, like so, all our situations are different. All of our circumstances. Uh, I mean, and you know, your situation. It sounds like yeah, you got to go. Articulate yourself. And let them know what's right, and stand on it. And so,
Right. And other states aren't going to be as difficult as far as, asserting your land, but having
uh,
yourself under the right structure as far as you have your nation together, you
uh,
have your identity together, you have your just your whole structure, you've claimed your identity fully, you know
mhm,
your tax structure, you're Indian not tax, you've declared it
mhm,
to all the different entities and all that stuff. That's important that you get all that stuff together, and then you go move forward to do some land claiming, but that's the process that I would say. But yeah, it's not gonna be nothing's gonna be as tough as the daggone those demons in Virginia. The Virginians, they're demonic, man. It's just the corruption is pervasive, like it's all throughout there, man. It's really bad, but that's okay. Their time is up, and this too must come to an end. Although they're not ready for it,
mhm.
it's time.
Yeah, you're gonna get your victory. You're gonna, you keep fighting. you keep fighting and you ain't gonna give up, you gonna get yours. And
Oh
it's
yeah,
gonna come soon for you. I'm gonna already speak that. So
thank you.
All
Yes,
right, Ish. Hey man, we're gonna move along. We got other
yeah,
callers,
yeah,
man.
yeah. Well,
So
I appreciate y'all for having me on. And I got your website, but is there any other
you
website?
said if you contact me through the contact on the website, it'll
Yeah,
alert
yeah.
me.
I got your website. I got your website. I'm gonna get into it. Is that where I can find like more information if I'm gearing toward going that
Yeah,
route?
if you want to get steps, more steps on, as far as paperwork and me helping we give you
Yeah,
information on paperwork, just hit me up, send me a contact through the website. There's nothing I'm not willing to share. So,
for
when
sure.
you're ready, let me know.
For sure, definitely, definitely. Well, I appreciate it. I appreciate the word too, and I wish y'all the best, love and blessings, of course. So thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. No problem. My
Hey,
pleasure.
hey Lisa,
Yeah,
can you
hey,
hear me?
I hear you.
By the way, by the way, peace everybody. I actually came in late. I like the title that you assigned to them. It is appropriate, when you said demon or
Mm,
AKA devil, because you are defined by what you do.
mm-hmm.
I can't see any other position that they can actually hold against you, and I know you know this
Yeah.
because the way the land was obtained
Mm-hmm.
when they initially their ancestors initially did what they did. But I'll say this for one thing, and I always repeat this over and over so people will understand where I'm coming from. I found it to be true. There is a direct correlation between stupid and evil, especially when arrogance is in the equation. You hear people talking about, you got to run out and vote for the presidential race, all this kind of stuff. And I heard one individual, or at least I saw a comment. The individual basically said that doing that is like sticking your hand in the toilet and trying to pick the best shit
Mm,
out of that toilet. That's
mm,
how one person placed it.
mm. Whoa, that's an image that, yeah, that's crazy. That's a very stirring image. Wow, 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 wow.
I couldn't help but laugh because he nailed it right on the head. But
Yeah,
yeah, they have us putting a price on everything. The world of commerce, the way they set it up. And originally, yes, that's true. You could not actually buy and sell the actual necessities of life. The originals understood it. Our ancestors knew that. But whatever it is that was done, whether it be by way of, you know, raping, killing, pillaging, torture, demons only do that. Only devils and demons do that kind of work. So
mm,
I will have to say that I have to commend you for doing what you're doing.
thank
And
you.
I'm actually I agree 100% with what you say about actually engaging in the usury practices that they engage in that world that what we call commerce. They got it to the point now where they got you tagging a price on everything. They actually set it up now where you're actually really paying for air.
Yeah,
That's insane. It's
yes.
insanity.
It really is insanity. And you know, um, the way they they violate the planet, in so many ways. And they violate nature. And it's really time for us to take it back. And the planet is demanding it. The universe is demanding it. We have to, because they're so greedy and corruptive that they'll just destroy everything. And because their greed knows no bounds. They just don't know how to stop themselves. They cannot. uh, there's such an emptiness, a void inside of them that they just can't seem to fill. And what we have as a people, I was just talking about that, because what we as a people, we've adopted that fear, that void, that feeling of uh uh can't get right, that feeling of it ain't enough, that feeling of I can't give up what's mine because there ain't gonna be nobody, ain't gonna be none left. See, we always had a spirit of abundance and we've lost that. We've adopted their spirit of lack because they've taught it to us and they reteach it to us and they impress it upon our minds so well that we're gonna be without, we're gonna like they make all their money off of our belief and their lack and the lack of the universe. So we gotta change our ways because no matter how much money, how much land we win back as a people, if we don't change the way we view things from these predators and the way they've taught us to think, we're going to end up in a worse condition. We've got to change the way we look at each other. We've got to change the way we love each other. We've got to start loving each other and valuing each other more. And we've got to value ourselves. We've got to understand that there is no lack. That's not a thing for us. The universe provides. We are providers. We are creators. We are manifestors. Whatever we need is coming. It's there. So these entities, they have this lack spirit, and that's why they're so predatory and greedy. They're so greedy because they got nothing. They got nothing. And that's what they believe. And that's what I guess that's what they are. But that's not us. And we got to change the future. We got to change the babies. We got to change so they understand a different way and they live a different way and they're willing to share. They're willing to love and they don't have a spirit of desperation, a spirit of lack, but have a spirit of love and sharing and caring and giving and abundance. And then we'll do okay. Then we'll be able to handle the wealth. Then we'll be able to handle the planet. Then we'll be able to handle the land with grace. But we got to have that grace. We got to understand the abundance and we got to get rid of that fear.
You know, earlier today, I find it interesting the title of the channel right now. I was joking around with one of the individuals in the Clubhouse app, and I told him, I says, "Listen, I'm going to provide a service to you where if your car breaks down, you could borrow my car as a loaner." I says, "But when you come back with the car, you must add two additional cars and bring it back." That's interest right there. In other words, they charge interest. How in the world can I bring back to you more than what I borrowed? But they have us thinking like that. More car than you borrowed. So I was joking around with the person when I said that. And long and behold, you got this room, this title to this broadcast of how they have us thinking. You know, they don't provide you with anything. And actually a vampire doesn't do that. They don't give you anything. They're parasites. So they operate as vampires, energy vampires. So of course they have you give everything, and then of course you get nothing in return. I mean that's how one gets wealthy actually. Slave operations. So that's the way the narrative has been played out for a very very long time, and it's to the point where a lot of people they can't even wrap their mind around the principles of freedom in itself. They don't see anything past the indoctrination they received in school, in the education system, so to speak. So that's going to take great effort on the part of each and every individual to at least turn or change directions. Because the direction we're heading right now, and I say it lightly when I say we, because not all of us are for what they're trying to set people up with, you know. Um, it's not going to work out for those, including these ones that they're bringing into the country across what used to be the border from other lands. They've always done that. They're always pulling that type of stunt, bringing in reinforcements.
That's all that's what they are. They can only do what they are. And it's like Lisa said earlier, until we see it, until we change, till we stop running and hiding and pretending like we don't see it, because that's all the people who act like they don't know what you're talking about. All they're doing is lying and pretending like they don't see nothing, like everything is going on. I had a person tell me one time, ain't nothing, everything is cool. Are you serious? And so, like she said, until we get out of that mindset, nothing's going to work. So, amen. So I want to thank you for joining us tonight, man. It's always a pleasure to have you with us. So we're going to close out tonight, you guys, but I hope we just laid some down, just some thoughts you can have tonight. These people give you nothing. They take everything from you. They took it from your mama, your daddy, your grandmama, your granddaddy, your great grandfather, your great great grandfather, and they taken from you. So keep that in mind the next time you go cast your vote. We'll see you guys next time. Peace.